So if you could say anything, everything gets so politicized. They're doing it in Oklahoma. Why can't we do it here? What would you say to a legislator? Is there a common sense answer to this as to why or how we can do this?
I would say you're going to pay for it eventually. Do you want to pay for it now and get a $7 return on the $1 you spend, or do you want to pay for it later? And you're going to pay for it later in terms of social services, in terms of corrections, in terms of a whole host of services. And we know it's harder to remediate later on in development, things that we could prevent early on in life.
What I would also say, and it sometimes found effective, what about your child? What if it was your child?
Sure.
What if we use the standard that if it's not okay for my child, it's not okay for anybody? And I think part of our work as advocates is understand the families of legislators. I mean, talk about where they're coming from specifically. So the macro and the kind of micro
and right now, I don't have a whole lot of faith in our legislation, and I hate to say that, but I do have hope in our business community, and we are beginning to see our business community step up, and I think that's one of the secrets to all of this. If we can get businesses to step up and advocate for early childhood, and I'm guaranteeing you're going to see politicians move.
The businesses have run the numbers, so to speak.
Right.
We're talking about workforce development, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about creating the kids that actually qualify to go to college, that actually qualify to serve in the military, that actually can hold a job, that have enough self-regulation and all those pieces put together to show up every day and be a productive person, to vote. I mean, we're talking about creating the citizens. So it is always amazing to me that it isn't just automatic that that corporations are working with our social systems and government to just create the best workforce possible.
But there has to be some equity. You know, it seems like those centers that are of high quality, they're typically not in neighborhoods of poverty. And so if the business community is going to get involved, there should be some equity across the board. Put some money into communities where you don't see a lot of high quality centers, because that impacts the workforce development as well. You know, there just has to be some equity across the board.
Well, we're involved in the Flange Center. We just built down at 20th and O'Fallon, and it's a $14 million project right in the heart of 6106. So there's a group of people, partners with Urban Strategies and McCormick Barron, who have made a deep commitment to the community, and we have business leaders, you know, really rallying around the cry. So it's happening.
Yeah, but that's one center, right?
Got to start.
I agree. I'm just saying that there has to be more equity. That's all.
We're dealing with the state. We need to remind ourselves that cut taxes as budget challenges is underfunding its foundation formula by its own terms by $600 million. Taking on early childhood education right is probably at least $250 million process. So that is a very steep hill to climb.
So is there something radical we need to do and like take it out of higher education, say it's going to be more bang for the buck here, or is it?
School districts are concerned that they might be mandated to, in fact, take it out of K through 12 and reallocate it out of those years into 3- and 4-year-olds.
There ought to be a public outcry about that. It can't be the solution. It cannot be the solution.
You know, we lost state money because they gave it to the veterans. Now, who's going to argue? It was just a reallocation of money, and so we had to lay people off, and across the state we were struggling. And but they gave it to the vets.
You're good.